Hi everyone, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings 5-Day. We're going to cover your astro forecast, covering all your romance, your career, you name it, we're covering it. Now, we did have an action-packed October, and we did have the full moon in Taurus on October the 31st. Now, I'll be covering each of these within each of your zodiac signs. Please look at your sun, moon, and rising. And if you do want to book a reading, you can go to the link directly below. We're also going to be doing additional reads during the month, and connected in with this, I'm going to be giving you chakra updates and more. Now, we do have this month Jupiter conjunct Pluto, and it's really amping off moving to December. So what I'm preparing to do for you guys is trying to get everything as organized as possible so you guys know what's coming up in your chakras, what's coming up in your charts, so you're well and truly prepared for each transit. Now, we are having Mercury in Scorpio going direct on the 3rd of November, and I think most of us will be relieved by that factor. We're also having Mars and Aries direct on the 14th of November, and then we're going to be having Neptune in Pisces direct on the 29th. So yet again, we will be glad that those planets are going direct. It's not to say we're out of the woods, but most of what's really coming up is very much connected to our health with the Taurus full moon that we had on the 31st, which again, I'll still be making references to it because it's still through the month will be resonating and connecting with your charts. And then we're going to be having a new moon in Scorpio at 23 degrees, which is the critical degrees, and it's on the 15th. But yet again, I will connect them with that. And then last but least, before we get into your actual chart, zodiac by zodiac, we have the full moon in Gemini at 9 degrees on the 30th of November, which is a lunar eclipse. And it is connected to the nodes. So we do currently have the North node in Gemini and the South node in Sagittarius. Now, for each of you, that nodal effect will take on a very different vibration. We're moving towards the energy of Gemini, which is a transformative period, which is connected to 2.5 years. So there are themes that are going to be coming up, and definitely it will be quite pivotal connected to this lunar eclipse in Gemini. Now, it can link back to May when the nodes did shift, where we did have a new moon at 2 degrees on the 22nd of May. So again, we will look at those energies and we'll tap into your charts and tell you how it goes. For those of you that you do want a reading, you can go, as I mentioned, to the link below. Now, let's get into your messages. Now, on the 31st, Pisces, we did have the energy of the full moon in Taurus on October the 31st, hitting your third house placement. Look, the last few months have been really, really full on, and definitely from October moving to November 2020, this is going to be a sigh of relief, and it can be a much better energy than we have had in months gone by. This has been quite a full on year. So, with your third house placement, there can be things to the degree of your routine, travel, tying up loose ends, maybe even with the axis of the energy of Gemini. It can be trying to tie up loose ends at home, your routine. There might have been a lot of social activities, and again, really honing them in and bringing them back down to, budgeting and looking at your diet and trying to get more grounded. If there is something at a financial level, and this can even be food related, needing to get your stocks in order. Maybe you have been more social and more letharged to the point where you haven't been out to get out and about. With the Taurus energy, it may be getting your shopping in order, restocking your pantry, paying debts linking to luxury items. And again, I do mention further into this report, I do cover your romance energy, your health, chakra-related reports, home and family, your finances, your career. So this is a very comprehensive report to give you step-by-step tips to handle the energy of what's coming through. Now, third house placement, there can be a purchase potentially during a Mercury retrograde linking to technology or vehicle. Also around this time, be super careful in the first 5 days, moving from the 31st of October into November, with the energies of travel. Now, Mercury will be going direct in Scorpio on the 3rd, but still, really, till about the 15th, there can be a lot of meditation in that area. Your routine may have been very hectic, really not spending a lot of time at home, having to go out. There might have been a lot of errands and things that you've done. There is budget related dynamics, and it can be a sudden event that occurs in the third house. So very cautiously pay attention to the road, especially because third house is related to local area, Gemini, Mercury, and we won't really have it going direct until the third. So pay attention on the road. Also, this can be computers and technology and things to that degree. If it's something previous, great, but because it's making an aspect to Uranus and Taurus, let me have a look. It's still hitting that same aspect. So, you know, it's much saying the same. It can be a sudden change in that area, but it is going to serve a purpose. So, you know, make sure you check your vehicle. Make sure that it's where it needs to be before driving. You know, just food for thought and safety. But you may find something linking in with Earth. There could be something that changes to do with Earth. And with Uranus, it can be sky, it can be lightning. And this is collective energy, not necessarily just linked to your chart, but, you know, traveling. Pay attention to the weather around that time. Make sure that you're aware of it, because it can be a sudden change that comes out of nowhere. You can find, because it's earth-based, it can be something to do with agriculture, shortages or changes, shifts, bringing something to a head, something drastic happening. So there can also be lightning with Uranus and Taurus, earthquakes. So food for thought, weather changes, definitely with the nodes being in Gemini. And we are having an eclipse this month, which further into this video, I do mention where the eclipse in Gemini and the new moon in Scorpio is landing for you. Now, on the 15th, we are having the energy of, and I keep saying energy, I've really got to stop saying that, the new moon in Scorpio at 23 degrees, which is the critical degrees in astrology, and it's hitting your 9th house. Now, this can be to do with expansion and growth and education, movement, foreign countries. What else? Your belief systems inside of things, merging things. So whatever you're trying to launch, because it is a new moon, I'd say pretty much if you have really been working at a task, be it it's in your career, it's a connection going to the next level, it's your belief systems, it's your wanting to tap into higher learning and things to that degree, things are really going to bump off as the month proceeds. So it's really great at the fact that we are having the new moon on the 15th. By this stage, we already would have had Mercury in Scorpio going direct. So you may use much of the first 2 weeks on assessing those areas, transforming them, fine-tuning them, looking at maybe something that's told to you or something that you tell somebody, and it's this exchange of information coming through. It is you are going to grasp some really very bold, strong ideas. But if you're wanting to move certain situations forward, especially in your marriages, contracts, partnerships, I do feel you will be weighing up the pros and cons, creating quality systems, budgeting effectively, and really pulling the belt in to get these things afloat. Pisces, you will be super happy this month to know that we are in your chart having Mercury and Scorpio going direct, and it's for everyone really, but yours is in your 9th house. We also have that occurring on the 3rd. We have Mars in Aries on the 14th moving forward. So, you know, ease is in the 2nd house, connecting to your assets, your personal value, your self-worth energy. If your emotions have been coming up of late during these retrogrades, a lot of subjects to do with last month moving into this month is going to be creating a lot of balance. This is the month in numerology connected to 11. And really, you know, all of us that see numbers and tap into that energy, it's duality. It's moving into the energy of yin and yang, getting more balanced. As I mentioned, last month we did have the Aries moon. We then had, and I mentioned it as a sandwich, we then had the new moon in Libra, and then moving towards the end of this month, moving into this new month that we're discussing, the full moon in Taurus. So it was 2 Venus signs and Mars orientated energy. So although we're having Mars going direct, we still will have Aries in Chiron retrograde much until, let me check the date, December the 15th, and it's going to be at 4 degrees. So wounds and things to that degree, plus fatigue, our diet, especially because we had the two, as I mentioned, the sandwich of Venus between the Libra moon and the full moon in Taurus. The things we liked, our emotions coming up, the way we related to things. Mercury being in Scorpio was hitting your 9th house. And although it does really link to 8th house, and I'm going to try and simplify this when I get to the separate section of your love, your health, your family, so that you guys really understand how this can be playing out for you. With the 9th house, again, you may have had a lot of things that you're looking at to do with travel, to do with foreign countries, to do with your education. You guys may have been really seeking that higher knowledge, anything to do with history, and especially with the full moon in Taurus. Coming up to a point where you're trying to understand other people's points of view. There may have been a lot of throat chakra with the 3rd house placement. So definitely for you guys, the full moon in Taurus can be creating that throat chakra energy. Where you might be a bit crackly. Again, seek medical attention if you feel you need to. But from a spiritual and astrological point of view, it is communication. You could be trying to, tie up loose ends with Aries and Chiron retrograde and Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Once they start going direct, you'll find that this communication is going to ease up. But there could be some things that are coming up where you're trying to clear the air, potentially some misunderstandings or missed communication. And during Mercury retrograde, we are more inclined to need to be careful with driving, especially since we have the nodes in Gemini. So our concentration level can be very foggy, especially with that frequency of Mars. If you have felt more fatigued, again, I will mention this more so in the area of health. You do tend to find with Mars retrograde, you will be eating a heavier things. So it's unique that we had two Venus energies coming through, which is really creating this theme where we're needing to look at getting back in balance. That can be, have we not been paying attention to our health? Have we been looking at, have we been go, 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 or have we been in hermit mode? And you guys are wanting to break free. So there can be this really draw towards other cultures, trying to understand them, higher education, physical movement, especially by the 15th. Now, we are having conjunction energies coming through, and on the first day of the month you do have your 9th house, which your viewpoint of old outdated ways may be coming up. The sun in Scorpio is making a conjunction to Uranus and Taurus, so again this can be really highlighting something of a viewpoint, needing to break the ice, maybe conversations and miscommunication. But again, it's to bring it up, to let it go, to really come to a place where you may feel that you're directly resonating with other people. You may feel you want to go back to school and upgrade your education. You may feel that what you're doing in a field sense and where you are is not where you're meant to be. You'll find as we have Mercury going direct, it shall ease and you'll have more clarity about these things. But you may have had a lot of contacts again from overseas, which could have been energizing this area for you, and really during Aries and Chiron retrograde, bringing up those memories from the past, bringing up your spiritual beliefs, helping you look at things differently. You also may have been guiding people during this time, and it could have caused much angst and frustration. But the communication style can really ease as the month progresses. Now, it's a beautiful month in a sense with Jupiter in Capricorn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Opportunities can come about, and this can be new hopes and dreams. New connections, new people coming into your life, looking at what everyone around you is needing. And I don't know why I'm seeing almost mediator energy, but when it does come to your hopes and dreams, it can be linking to somewhere else or your networking, a requirement to really tap into those resources that you have, especially if you're working. But I will mention this more so. Money as well can be coming up in this area because it's really, really Jupiter-orientated energy. And definitely with the Jupiter aspect there is going to help you if you can actually look outside the box. Okay, although there's two major chakra energies that are really going to be playing out, and we can say others, but particularly for you with the element of Jupiter, it will be third eye energy. So again, from a holistic astrological chakra point of view, very separate to the general chakras that can be activated this month, you may be more inclined to have headaches, or, you know, tuning into things, really trying to understand it. Again, with the ninth house placement, it makes sense. Looking at things, trying to comprehend and understand. Definitely a good time, you know, if you feel eye strains and need to get that checked, you know, go ahead and do that. But from a guided meditation point of view, because obviously I can only speak about it from a chakra and astrological point of view, not medical. You need to seek professional advice for that. Doing the guided meditation for the third eye, you could eat food groups linked to that. And separately, we're also going to be having really great benefits coming from maybe your intuition, maybe from the way you see things. Really, really creative ideas can actually generate great sources of income and clarity. We also have heart chakra activation this month. So it's both higher heart chakra and heart chakra. And the reason I mention higher heart chakra is because Aries and Chiron will be retrograde until December the 5th. So pay attention to that energy. It can also link to sun energy, so it'll be highly active as the sun enters into Sagittarius, and that's on the 21st. So, you know, pay attention to that. You can do guided meditation, you can use crystals and the food groups to balance those areas, and it can be overactive or underactive. But, you know, for it to be similar to a car service, being aware of these areas, and again, keeping health in mind, because we had 2 Venus signs. It's healthy heart, healthy body, eating nutritious food that's going to assist with the balance of that, especially because you did have the 9th house placement, which I will be talking about in the health department, linking to that. And last but not least, and I'm sure there are other areas, but these are the major ones, solar plexus. You can use citrine for this as well. There's certain gems you can utilize to assist it. We're also going to be having the base chakra pretty active due to the fact that we have Capricorn in Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter at the moment until next month. And then there's a shift, but we'll get into that then. So with the solar plexus, it's your fight and flight. And because we do have Aries and Chiron retrograde, we had the Mars energy coming through. We may have been eating heavier food groups to actually get us to get that energy, feeling quite fatigued. Jupiter can be known for that as well. And, you know, when we have a transit with the energy of Jupiter, especially in certain planets, we do really need to be mindful of expansion, because it's all about expansion as well. So with the solar plexus, you know, balancing that energy, actually looking at the frequency of, where the motivation's being able to get up and go, maybe triggered, feeling agitated, being able to metabolize effectively. So balance this area, be mindful of it. It should ease up as the month progresses, but with the energy of Sagittarius, it is going to be highly active. Neptune will be going direct as well. So we have both linked to the sacral chakra with Pisces and Sagittarius. Balancing that will really assist you. Now, your health, this can be an area in which, and let me break it down for you. Now, remember, we had a lot of retrogrades. So, you know, it's going to go ebbs and flows depending on how you directly relate to energy, how you problem solve, emotionally feel to do with situations. Your wound energy links to your 2nd house placement. With the fatigue energy, there may be a lot of catching up, a lot of distortion in the collective occurring. So it really depends on how you feel about these situations. If you have been go, 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 it could be time to create more of a balance, especially with the energy of the full moon in Taurus, then the new moon in Scorpio. It's some outdated ways. What's working for you? What's not? Out with the old, in with the new. Creating that new balance of stability, both inside of you and outside of you. Looking at your social endeavors, looking at, what you're wanting to do to change things around. You do tend to find with the energy, as I mentioned previously, with Jupiter, because we've had such fatigued energy with Mars retrograde, a lot of us are needing to very, closely have a look at our diet, and it can go, again, yin and yang. This is an 11 month. Have you had your food in check? Have you found that, during this retrograde, the Lafarge has been there and you have been indulging? With ninth house placement, being a new moon in Scorpio, we're going to have an ability to actually rein those things in and channel it effectively. Others of you, it could have been go, 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 really busy, and really not having a break. And again, still really feeding your body the fuel that it needs, but paying attention to those things. Emotions with your hopes, dreams, and the people that you're surrounding. It may have been a time of contention where your emotions may have been with the third house, with the full moon in Taurus, activating your throat chakra, where the emotions and the axis of the second house, which is self-esteem, and it's the food we eat, which is Mars and Aries, could have been really inflamed at that time. Wounds coming up, emotions, self-esteem related dynamics, and it's not a personal thing, it's just where the placement is. So it depends on how you relate to it. With the second house, the things in which we consume, it can be a multitude of things. The pacifiers in which we use to cope. And it can be to one extreme to the other, but by balancing it and having a look at it. Jupiter for you guys, again, third eye, belief systems, thought processes. Clear your third eye. Sometimes thinking about things, thinking over, emotions and feelings, or something somebody says to you and it can trigger you. But again, I do feel it's more throat chakra orientation of consuming. So it can be on one extreme to the other. So balance that, have a look at it, and it is going to plateau out, and you're going to find that by about the 16th, all of your plans of what you're wanting to move towards, you can feel more balanced and you're going to feel better. Work and money. Now, this month does bode really well for you. You will have a great analytical mind. You will be creating more balance, and you'll be looking at ways that you can bring things together. With the 11th house placement, this can be windfalls that come in. Again, there can be much energy at the beginning of the month where you're looking and networking, balancing things out, maybe trying to be fair to people around you. And really creating new quality systems. And I do feel by the time you move into the new moon in Scorpio, there could be a lot of travel connected to your employment as well, coming and going. It might be operating over the internet and communicating with people. And definitely because of the fact that you do have the energy of Gemini in your fourth house placement. For those of you that are working from home, you will find that doing quality systems, connecting to simplifying situations at home, using your throat chakra, which is very Mercury orientated, it's really going to benefit you. If you do find that you've been working very hard on your employment and trying to pull everything in, the quality systems of assessing the outdated ways, because it's very Pluto energy with the 8th house, will benefit you by actually looking at the balance. Okay, what do I need to do to shift things around so that I can create more balance? Now, in your life, if you're just merely looking at your money aspect, shifting things about, looking at the budget at home, looking at what your needs are, especially with the full moon in Taurus, really looking at those things about what's required and fine-tuning it to create that balance when it does come to the financial aspect. Now, you will have, for those of you looking for jobs, the sun moving into Sagittarius can bring great opportunities, and with your networking, much of the month with Scorpio going direct, it can provide additional opportunities. With the conjunction points, again, 11th house placement and money can be really great. Take steps that you are needing to take and you will get the benefits out of the situation. Bills to the degree can be coming from the energy of Taurus with the third house placement. So again, a lot of coming and going. It can be, again, car repairs during Mercury retrograde, getting things in order but finalising them. And you'll find if there's anything you need to finalise linking to the third house, it could be a telephone bill, it may be beautification of situations, education, upskilling, technology as well, due to the fact, for you inside employment or in general, finalising internet bills and things to that degree. Just an example, but food for thought. Now, home and family, again, with the Gemini energy and the nodes being there, home, your daily routine, things to that degree can really be changing. The psychology surrounding maybe the differing views of people inside of your family. You may have a very multicultural or well-travelled or well-educated family, however it directly falls. Some of your family may be at a distance, again, with the ninth house placement. Crosswise, again, with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, may have been a bit of contention, and it will balance out as Mercury and Mars goes direct. You will find that there could be a lot of socialization. Now, this can be via media. This can be some hopes and plans, maybe even a social event that is actually, being dealt with and looked at. But again, when it does come to home and family, trying to create the balance, coming to terms with the 8th house placement of maybe some connections that ended. Some of you may be ending a connection, looking at something, and it can be a friendship group. It doesn't have to be a personal thing. It can be, making peace, looking at the difficulties and the responsibilities, in actually having connections. Connections are all, they're all relationships to a degree. So it can be our work colleagues, it can be our siblings, our children, our partners, and looking at those things and trying to bridge the gap between everyone's need and pulling it together. There can be difficulty, but there's going to be solutions for that situation. And I do feel that by the time we reach the point of about the 17th, things can be balancing out. Even through the difficulties, it's not that it's not going to be fine. It's more there can be work to do in that area. Struggles, difficulties, trying not to take it personal, but it shall balance out. Again, all of us collectively are dealing with our own charts, astrologically and emotionally, when it does come to Aries and Chiron retrograde. So it's still Mars energy. It still can be very personal to a degree, that we're all having, some emotional belief system or emotion occurring. And with the nodes being in Sagittarius and Gemini, especially to do with siblings, religion, education with the Gemini nodes, there can be lots of changes that are happening in the collective. So food for thought. Pisces. Love. Let's talk about love. Couples and singles, whomever you may be. With your second house, because remember, we do have, as I mentioned, I keep mentioning Aries and Chiron. There must be something, really pivotal coming up. Emotionally speaking, with Mars going direct, you may feel more comfortable in your own skin. And that's not to say you're not. Sometimes it can be overzealous and sometimes it can be under. However, it's directly falling for you. With the second house placement, it is to do with, again, you've got first house with Neptune going direct towards the end of the month. We have Aries and Chiron, which is hitting your second house. Maybe subjects to do with your land, to do with your professional resources, your personal value, following your truth, your self-confidence, your self-esteem. All of those things can be affecting interconnections. So initially, as Mars goes direct, it can really ease off that house placement, which the way then you can directly relate to those situations will be a lot better. There could be a spiritual difference in this connection. For instance, because you have the ninth house placement, viewpoints on what you want to do versus what they want to do, if you're in a connection, may be different. For some of you, it could be meeting a foreigner, very attracted to a person that is different to you or lives at a distance, and trying to bridge that gap as well. With your social endeavors, I do feel, although we're talking about love here, in the career sector, it may have been, for those of you that are working, a lot going on. A lot going on when it does come to responsibilities inside of your hopes and dreams and what you're doing in those areas. Also to do with your pastimes and the things you do, being there for people that you love. It may be a swap of the energy where somebody's going to try and be there for you. Now, with Venus and Libra squaring Jupiter in Capricorn, again, some situations may be in a viewpoint. If you're single, you're looking back and you're looking at, in order to grow, what you need to heal and what you have to let go of. And it doesn't have to be the physical person. It can merely be the emotions and the healing inside of it that it always takes two to tango. For some of you, very separately, it could be coming to terms with, people that you love that have passed over with the 8th house placement, and the connection with it and the emotions. Also what's happening in the collective, but definitely inside of relationships, conversations about finance, conversations about balance and fairness. Now, 9th house placement can also talk about taking a relationship to the next level. So you could be really meditating upon, in your life, where is this going? Be it you're coupled or single, what you're wanting, what your belief systems are inside of connections as we have the planets go direct, what your hopes and dreams are, what your needs are inside of those connections. And this is a very personal month. Now, with Mars going direct, the one thing you will find is all of us collectively have masculine and feminine energy, yin and yang inside us. They had been out of balance for a while with Mars retrograde. You will tend to find, the masculine planets at the moment in the collective are going to be going direct, although we will have the slight energy of meditation, I call it, due to the fact that we have Aries and Chiron retrograde. There will be this energy where people are binding better, and definitely moving into the following month, we have some really fantastic opportunities as we move into 2021 with both Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius, where connections are going to be more like-minded, more merging, more so than we've ever had on the planet in many, many, many decades. So that's really something fantastic to look at that a lot of us really have never experienced. Now, you guys are the beautiful dream weavers of the astrology at the moment, with your Pisces energy. Now, as I mentioned, balance the sacral chakra. It's both yin and yang in a sense of, growing your intuition, your ability to co-create with that Jupiter energy. With the 11th house placement, this can be hopes and dreams connecting to finances. It can be windfalls of money. Also, because Neptune will be going direct, you'll find that some of those things that you're wanting to move towards are really going to start showing signs now of movement if you've applied effort to those areas. Another thing you'll find is during the retrograde, Neptune in Pisces, it is linking to your crown chakra because it is very Gaia source energy. Keep your fluids up. Pay attention to your fluid intake, especially if you're really meditating and you're thinking on a lot of things for the third eye. I also do tend to find during Neptune retrograde and triggers in the collective with such heavy energies, with so many planets that we had retrograde over the last few months, you can tend to have very bizarre dreams. Psychic attacks and things to that degree can occur. So really clearing the house of the new moon and the full moon. And I do updates on Instagram linking to that. Try and give you guys the dates. And I'm working very hard in that area to provide different services to different areas to keep you guys always in the loop of the current energy. So using tourmaline, clearing your room with a smudge stick, opening the energy up in the house, bringing more chi energy in is going to balance that. Also using amethyst to directly protect your crown chakra, but definitely tourmaline and obstinine and things to that degree for foundation. Now, it would be really beneficial with the nodes in Gemini over the next 2.5 years to get some obstinine and root chakra energies for the home. That is so the foundation of that home environment is clear and balanced. There will be a lot of changes in your home environment over the next 2.5 years of your communication, and it's due to the fact that you have the North Node in Gemini in your 4th house. So balancing that area will assist you. Now, your dreams also are going to give you psychic downloads at the moment, and especially for those dreams that are really repeating, really pay close attention to them because they can be quite cryptic. I do dream analysis inside of my readings. Feel free to drop me a message, and if I've got time, I'll jump on and actually respond to you if you've really been confused by it, because there can be color elements, there can be home, for instance, can link to the vessel inside yourself. So it's the way you feel inside of the world. Flying, you're on top of things. So, and again, it's the color elements, it's the feeling inside the dreams. And at times we're really astro traveling. So pay attention to those cryptic energies as you go through this month and moving forward. The lunar eclipse linking to the nodes. This shall be an interesting one. Now, we did have the nodes shift in May. The node is a mathematical equation linked to the moon, and it is the energy that is going to be playing out for us collectively over the next 2.5 years. With this, we tend to have, it's almost like the universe is asking us to transform something. Now, with the North Node, you will have the 4th house placement activated for the 2 years. And I'll say 2 at the moment to leave it be at that. With it, it does come down to home, your psychology, your daily routine. It can be beautifying your home. It's socialization with Gemini. It's your routine, coming and going. It can be education, especially with the 9th house placement axis, currently with Mercury in Scorpio. So looking at those things and looking at your home environment, looking at your routine of where you are, and it really depends on where you are in life. What is that routine? What are those things that you're wanting to do? There can be some pivotal changes happening around that area. It will link back to previous events in history, as well as when the nodes did shift in May of 2020. So it's almost like that pit stop. We're at the train station, we're stopping, we're taking stock as to where we are. You will find also at a very separate level, there can be, it is wind energy in astrology. So you will find, especially with the Taurus energy, with full moon, there could have been land-related, agriculture-related dynamics. With Gemini, it can be schooling-related dynamics coming up in the collective, education, socialization. It's a very social sign, Gemini is. What else can be coming up? But definitely wind-related subjects. Uranus was also making an aspect to the full moon in Taurus. So again, it's deemed as Gaia. It can be lightning, connecting in with Earth. It could be, what else would we deem it to? Earthquakes and things to that degree with earth-based energy. So, generally you do tend to find with eclipse energy, depending on the zodiac sign it's in, and how it's playing out, it's 2 weeks in and it's 2 weeks out, you will notice differing energy patterns. And there can be things coming up to the degree in that department. So yes, when you do watch the news, you'll be aware of this now. Also within your own life, it can relate to your physical home, your daily routine. If you're studying, what you're doing in that department, if you're communicating, definitely with travel as well, travel related dynamics. The restrictions and things to that degree, there can be something coming up to do with that also. But balance with the chakras, as I mentioned, do an energy home clearing. It can be very, very beautiful as well. And it's really taking stock of where you were from May and how much has transformed in that area of your home. Did you move home at that time? Have you shifted? Where are you now when it does link to home? And home is also a very personal thing. It's moon energy. There can be subjects around this time to do with female energies. That can be sisters, it can be daughters. It will be feminine energy due to the element of moon. And also you as well, within your emotional body, how you're feeling connecting to situations. So balance the home. Take stock of where you were previously to where you are now, what your belief systems of home and family can be, what your routine is, and drop me a message and tell me how this hits for you. Pisces, thank you so much for joining me. Please join me later for the tarot updates, for the psychic energy updates connected to your romance house. I'm going to be doing the Venus elements very separately so I can really channel those psychic messages for you. I also connect in the moon energy very separately to do transit updates. Any chakra related dynamics or twin flame journey updates. I do coaching on YouTube as well as I do super chat as well during the live sessions. Please hit the bell so that you get notified as to all the new content that's coming up. 2021, I'm fiercely preparing so that you guys can have weekly transit forecasts and a lot more content coming to you. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. A very warm welcome to all of you who are new. And if you do want an update for these new videos, see you on the other side. Have a great month.